For weeks, the silence spoke louder than any statement ever could. Every time Papoose posted a photo, stepped out in public, or was casually mentioned alongside the swirling rumors, fans leaned in and waited. They searched captions for clues, scanned comments for hidden meanings, and refreshed timelines hoping for a live stream, a post, or even a single sentence that might either confirm their worst fears or shut the entire situation down once and for all. But nothing came. And in today's digital world, silence doesn't calm the internet. It fuels it. Silence creates space for imagination to run wild, for speculation to snowball, and for narratives to form without boundaries. With every passing day that went by without a response, the story grew larger, messier, and harder to control. By the time Papoose finally broke his silence, the narrative had already taken on a life of its own. And standing at the center of that storm was Claressa Shields, facing a level of scrutiny and backlash that intensified with each new rumor. It didn't begin with an announcement or a scandalous headline. It started quietly, almost innocently, with whispers. A comment here, a reaction there, a clip that felt just a little too friendly. Social media has a sharp eye for moments like that. It takes fragments of interactions and stretches them into full-blown theories. Screenshots began circulating. Old interviews resurfaced. Suddenly, self-proclaimed body language experts filled comment sections, analyzing pauses, smiles, and glances as if they were sworn testimony in a courtroom. As the whispers grew louder, one name consistently trended alongside Papoose's. At first, it looked like another short-lived internet rumor cycle, intense for a few days and then forgotten. But this one didn't fade. It grew teeth. Fans began picking sides long before any facts were confirmed. Some insisted there had to be more happening behind the scenes. Others pushed back, calling the speculation reckless, unfair, and invasive. But the longer Papoose remained silent, the louder the assumptions became. In the eyes of the internet, silence often looks like confirmation, even when it isn't. And that's when the criticism aimed at Claressa Shields shifted from subtle suspicion to full-blown outrage. Claressa Shields is no stranger to pressure. She built her career in environments where doubt and criticism are constants. Inside the ring, chaos is familiar territory. She's fought through disbelief, dismissed expectations, and constant scrutiny to reach the top of her sport. But this situation was different. This wasn't about championships, rankings, or performance. This was personal. This was about perception. And perception, especially online, can be merciless. Every post she made became a point of debate. If she smiled, critics labeled it calculated. If she stayed quiet, they called it suspicious. If she spoke up, she was accused of fueling drama. There was no winning in a court run by comment sections. The rules changed daily, and the verdict always seemed predetermined. Meanwhile, the pressure on Papoose continued to mount. Fans who had admired him for years felt confused, even betrayed, without fully understanding why. Some demanded clarity, arguing that public figures owe transparency to the people who support them. Old interviews were dug up and re-examined. Clips where he spoke passionately about loyalty, commitment, and standing firm resurfaced, and were now framed as contradictions. His own words became evidence in a trial built entirely on assumption. The conversation was no longer just about rumors. It became about character. Then finally, the silence broke. The moment wasn't explosive. There was no rant, no emotional outburst, no chaotic confession. Instead, Papoose appeared calm, measured, and almost painfully composed given the storm surrounding him. Yet beneath that composure was unmistakable tension. His voice carried weight, not anger, but firmness. The tone of someone exhausted by being misunderstood. He addressed the noise without feeding it directly. He spoke about respect, about how narratives get twisted online, about how people who don't know the full story often speak with the loudest confidence. He didn't throw accusations. He didn't confirm rumors. But he didn't ignore the situation either. That careful balance, speaking without saying too much, only made people listen harder. Fans replayed his words repeatedly, searching for hidden meanings. Some believed he was subtly defending Claressa without naming her. Others felt he was creating distance. Comment sections exploded within minutes. Supporters praised his maturity and restraint. Critics accused him of dodging direct answers. But while attention shifted toward his statement, the backlash against Claressa intensified. In the minds of many online, if Papoose felt compelled to speak, someone must have crossed a line. And according to the loudest voices, that someone was Claressa. Old clips resurfaced yet again. Moments where she laughed during interviews. Moments where she spoke confidently about her relationships and connections. In this new context, those same moments were reframed as evidence of wrongdoing. The internet has a powerful ability to rewrite history, depending on the emotional temperature of the moment. Accusations escalated quickly. Some claimed she enjoyed the attention. Others labeled her an opportunist. Harsh words flooded timelines, including terms that carried heavy moral judgments. Despite the absence of concrete proof, the volume of negativity became overwhelming. Still, Claressa didn't retreat. She continued posting training footage. She shared motivational messages. She stayed visible. To her supporters, that was resilience. To her critics, it was defiance. And that difference in interpretation is exactly where the situation escalated further. Not because of new information, but because of emotion. People weren't debating facts anymore. They were defending feelings. Loyalty became the centerpiece of the conversation. Fans projected their own experiences onto the situation. Some saw betrayal where none may have existed. Others saw manipulation in otherwise ordinary interactions. The story became less about what actually happened, and more about what people believed could have happened. And in the age of viral storytelling, belief spreads faster than truth. As days passed, influencers and bloggers piled on. Reaction videos appeared everywhere. Some creators claimed insider knowledge. Others dissected public posts frame by frame, pausing, zooming, and narrating assumptions. Every new take reignited the discussion. Even those attempting neutrality were pulled into the debate, because once a story reaches this level of intensity, silence feels impossible. Then came an unexpected shift. Papoose released another statement. Shorter, sharper. This time, the message emphasized boundaries. He reminded people that social media is not a courtroom. That speculation has real consequences. That narratives built on assumptions can damage real lives. The tone felt different, more protective, more final. It wasn't just about addressing rumors anymore. It felt like drawing a line. That second statement changed the energy. Some fans began questioning whether the backlash toward Claressa had gone too far. Others doubled down, insisting that where there's smoke, there must be fire. But one thing became undeniable. The emotional toll was real. Fame magnifies everything. Private misunderstandings become public controversies. Casual interactions become viral narratives. And once the internet locks onto a storyline, changing it becomes nearly impossible. Even without proof, reputations feel the impact. Claressa eventually addressed the backlash in her own way. Not with tears. Not with apologies. But with clarity. She spoke about strength. About refusing to let strangers define her character. She didn't attack anyone directly. She didn't fan the flames. But she made it clear she would not accept a narrative that painted her as something she wasn't. Her voice was steady, but the emotion beneath it was undeniable. This wasn't just about headlines anymore. It was about identity. And that's what made the entire saga feel bigger than gossip. At its core, this story wasn't about who said what or who was seen where. It was about how quickly curiosity turns into condemnation. How silence becomes suspicion. How speaking up invites criticism. And how public figures are expected to navigate chaos flawlessly, while millions watch. Papoose breaking his silence didn't end the controversy. It didn't erase the debates or unify opinions. Instead, it reframed the conversation. What had been loud speculation suddenly felt more human. His words reminded audiences that behind trending topics are real people, dealing with real emotions, in complex situations. It forced a pause, however brief. A reminder that assumptions are not harmless. Every theory shared, every side chosen, every comment posted adds another layer of pressure to lives already under a spotlight. The internet thrives on spectacle, outrage, and dramatic twists. But for those living inside the story, it isn't entertainment. It's stress. It's scrutiny. It's an emotional weight that doesn't disappear when the timeline refreshes. Long after hashtags fade and new stories take over, consequences linger. Relationships strain. Reputations shift. Trust is tested. So breaking silence was never about ending drama. It was about reminding the world that viral moments may be temporary for viewers, but their impact lasts far longer for the people involved. As the noise slowly began to quiet, one question remained. Was the backlash justified, or was it the product of a culture addicted to drama? Maybe the truth lives somewhere in between. Maybe it's a reminder that perception isn't reality, and that the loudest narratives are often built on the thinnest evidence. What's undeniable is this. The moment Papoose spoke, the story changed. It forced people to reconsider, to pause, to recognize that not every rumor deserves a verdict. And as Claressa continues to face scrutiny, one truth stands out. Strength isn't just about standing tall in victory. It's about standing firm when your character is questioned. In the end, the internet will move on. It always does. Another headline will replace this one. Another debate will trend. But moments like these leave a mark. They expose how fragile public image can be, how quickly loyalty becomes a battlefield, and how sometimes the loudest part of any controversy isn't the accusation at all. It's the reaction.